Kramer, and today we're going to be talking about After Effects. I've been doing visual effects for 10 years, and I've been very lucky to work on some really exciting projects and to sort of, I don't know, wake everybody up after lunch. Here's some music and some of the cool projects I had a chance to work on. Thank you. I'm one of the lucky people who gets to use Video Copilot tutorials in his own reel, so that's kind of a bonus. All right. Welcome, everybody, on the live stream as well. Of all the projects that I've worked on, with visual effects, from a bigger movie to a small short film, the one thing I figured is the best way to get things done is you have to have a good, solid plan. And I've made some mistakes, and I've had some successes. But no matter what, you look back and you say the projects that had the right plan were pulled off the best. Now, recently, my filmmaking friend, Ryan Connolly, was working on a short film. He called me up and said, it was a little hectic. And he said, Andrew, I lost my visual effects artist. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Just get a new graphics card. He'll be back. It's not a big deal. But he said, no, he's gone. So now I'm thinking, are we moving a dead body? What's happening here? But luckily, that wasn't the case, but unfortunately, it was actually worse. He said, Andrew, I need 25 visual effects done in less than 2 weeks. And we're good friends. But I was thinking, how good of friends are we? Just kidding, Ryan. No, he lost his visual effects artist. I jumped in and said, all right, let's figure this out. And so we took a look at the work, the script, and here's some of the work that we did for his short film called Sentinel. So let me play that for you. Okay. So there was a lot of things to think about as we're reading the script, and I think the biggest one was the sort of CG drone that's going to be flying around, that's going to be very maneuverable, and there was a lot of shots in the short at first, and so we were trying to figure out, well, how do we do this? Because if we really want to get it done and have it look good, we have to decide at what is going to be the limit of the complexity of the shots. And in particular, there's sort of this propulsion effect that you see on the drone, right? You see shots with a lot of shaking camera, and you got to track that. Oh, my gosh, I'm having flashbacks. That stuff was difficult. Thank goodness for Mocha and After Effects. But actually, before I talk about the drone stuff, let me show you something, what we did on these explosions. So for this shot, we actually 3D tracked it and then comped in some action elements. And one of the cool things that you can see is that the action elements really integrate with the ground. You can see the little chunks of dirt and falling on the ground. And I find that's a really important thing when you're using stock footage is you want to make sure that it doesn't feel like a cutout. You want to make sure there's overlapping. And I think most importantly, actually, look at this. See the rotoscoping on this? You know why Ryan's a genius? Because he had his character wearing a beanie, and it's so much easier to rotoscope around a beanie than just hair flying everywhere. Love that guy. All right. Lastly, we've got this drone effect. Okay, so talking about this propulsion. There's a lot of ways to do propulsion. You guys have seen Iron Man, you've seen spaceship movies, and it's a lot of variation in between, right? But if we are going to do a smoke simulation for, a dozen shots, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work if you're compositing the shots, if you're getting the look development of the shots, and you have to do a simulation. Something is going to get lost in that mix. So we came up with a plan to focus it more on sort of a heat distortion effect and give it more interactive type of effect. So things like there's a little bit of like a saber effect down below, very soft to kind of show the momentum and the pressure of the air. And in this particular shot, we did some simple dust effects. So anytime you can create interactive dust or interactive environment shading or lighting, that gives you a much better impression of the weight, of the speed, of the power of this thing. And so this turned into a really good shot, except for I had to do this it was actually just a shot of a shed, and then I had to do a set extension and painting in all these trees. Oh, man. That was so much fun. But now let's talk about the propulsion, right? Because I didn't want to pitch to Ryan. I'm like, I got a great idea, Ryan. We just have a light flashing, and you come up with a really good sound effect. And he's like, that's great. Now, we wanted to do something that looked good and that didn't seem like we were cutting corners, even though we knew we had a limited time. And so one of the things that you want to do is when you're working in After Effects is you want to think iteratively. How do you create something that can be edited and dynamically changed? How can you do something that's customized for each shot? So if you look at the last shot, right, of the short, the ship goes crashing down, and we kind of see the light flickering and flashing as it falls down. So that's one of these things that you want to have control over. So you figure out what are the things that you want to have control over, right? You want the light color to be a certain way. You want the heat distortion to be a certain way. You want the energy effect to be a certain way. And then how can you link all of those properties together? So I've done a very simple sort of recreation. It's like one of those crime shows where they recreated the crime scene. You guys don't look like you're into those crime shows. Oh, man, I watch them all night. I love them. All right. I've set up the saber color to change the light color, to change the instances of the saber heat distortion. And let's take a look. Does anyone use the Saber plugin for After Effects? It's free. Oh, nice. Check it out, videocopilot.net. It's pretty cool. It's free. So this effect is very dynamic. It's 3D, so I can actually move around it. And another interesting thing about it is this heat distortion. So if I play this without the heat distortion, it looks okay. Heat distortion is like the camera shake of visual effects. All right, never mind. Some people get that, but I don't. Now, what I've done that's actually interesting in this project is I set up a 3D adjustment layer. Now, it's 3D because I want the heat distortion to stay locked on all of those effects. So if I move the camera, other than my cylinder effect, but if I move the camera, the heat distortion will stay following that camera movement. And that's, again, another one of these things that, yeah, it takes a little bit longer to set up, but once you have it set up, you can rely on it for all of the different changes. Now, with that in mind, procedural visual effects is sort of our main thing that we've been doing lately at Video Copilot. And one of the things I love to do is figure out how do you create procedural effects in After Effects without any extra plugins. And here's an example of some of the things that we created. right. I end all my videos with that sound. Let me open up that project really quick. Let's see here. Now, it started at a pretty simple idea of creating some 3D beveled text, and then it got into some other crazy examples. So let me just pull through a couple here. So RAM preview here. I like to reflect on life during my RAM previews. We don't get a lot of peace, you get to think and say, what am I doing with my life? And then the render's done, you're like, oh yeah, here it is. I love it. So this is kind of a fun effect. Okay, so you have little bits of grass sort of flowing in the wind. You've got the cracks that are growing on over the stone. And again, this is all created entirely inside of After Effects. So if I just lock this comp here, and I can show you a couple of the fun customizations. So let's see. Now, I could switch out the logo with just another type, and all of the effects switch out. So have you guys ever done an animation and where you create a very custom animation, and then they're like, oh, it's supposed to be a lowercase h. And you're like, what the heck? And then you have to redo the whole animation, right? So it gets to a point where you save more time by just putting that little extra effort into setting it up in a procedural way, in a dynamic way, and then you can make all those great videos. This actually reminds me of the Indiana Jones movies. Like, this is the first one, and then there was the one with the skulls and everything. So never mind. This is getting off the rails. Hold on, let me show you these cracks. I'm losing them. All right, so check this out. Procedural, right? We've got these cracks. Has anyone ever used an effect called cell pattern in After Effects? This guy right here, he's like, yeah, finally. Somebody recognizes my genius. All right. Well, look at this. The cracks are all based on this cell pattern. It's got a turbulent displace just to sort of give that crisp, rocky flavor. Now, if I change the size of the cracks, it changes the size of the cracks, of the moss, of the grunge. You get the idea. I don't have to keep talking over and over again. Let me show you this other thing that I think is really cool. I feel like I'm asking you guys a lot of questions. Let me ask you a question. Has anyone ever used the effect CC hair? Hair? Oh, this guy over here. Oh, man. All right, so check this out. This is this crazy plugin for, let me see if I can brighten this up a little bit. Okay, CC hair. You see we've got these little strands of grass, and it's a really odd effect, but it creates hair out of the alpha of your video. So if we start with the alpha from those cracks, so you can kind of see that. Sorry, it's a little vague there, but there's the alpha from the cracks. And then you turn on the hair effect. Now you're creating grass coming out of those cracks. Now, this effect is wild. You can turn up the length of the grass, okay? So I'll just put it in context here. There we go. You can turn up the length of the grass. You can do like thickness. There's even like a weight setting, and it kind of creates like a physics effect. So if this were falling, I don't know. Boo! All right. Shh. Now, so how do we create this sort of like blowing in the wind effect? Well, this effect, strangely, is quite advanced. It has a map to control the noise effect. So you can see it moves around, and so I've set up a very simple, let's see, where is that? I don't know, it's in here somewhere. I was going to organize this project, but I was like, I'll just look like a fool up there, it'll be great. But basically, it's just a fractal noise that's just moving around a little bit, and it's perfect. So, but here's what happened. So I started having a ton of fun with this, and then it went into a ton of other things. So I started doing, there we go. I started playing around with some concrete effects, And then I had a lot of fun creating this rust effect. Actually, I have an animation of this, so you don't have to watch the RAM preview. So this rust effect is all procedural. It's based on a single fractal noise, and it's all pretty customizable. And I got to tell you, this is inspired by maybe my favorite person in the world. I got to show you this, so just hang on a second.
Hi, Billy Mays here for OxyClean, the stain specialist. Powered by the air you breathe, activated by the water that you and I drink.
Okay. Hold on a second. Does anyone know who this person is? Because this is about a 14-minute video I want to show you. Now, we'll come back to this. That's sort of my backup plan if things are really going down. I'm ready. Let's take a look at this rust. So you have this red rust layer right here, and it's all layered, right? So you have things like there's this oxidized. I learned all this from that Billy Mays video. He taught me all about residue and how to protect your pipes at home. You know, it's important stuff. Look it up. All right, so let's take a look at this rust part, right? It's all curves there. It's all customizable. I can change the color of the rust with curves. And if I open up, so I'm going to lock this really quick. This is what the fractal noise layer looks like. And part of working with displacement maps or luminance maps is that you just have to think about adding and subtracting light, right? You're adding and subtracting brightness. And there's a ton of different transfer modes. There's multiply, there's screen, lighten. And when you play around with the right ones, you can start to take away the brightness around certain areas. So one of the cool things about this particular effect is I wanted the edges to stay intact. So I just took a copy of the effect and I put it on top. See here? And just had a little bit of a blur. And you can see I can increase that blur and change the way that the effect happens. And again, I do feel like I'm on one of those infomercials. And look at this. With just a few easy steps. Don't bail out on the stream yet, okay? Oh, man. Okay, let's move on. That's the best strategy I ever learned. Okay, another effect. Same process, totally different result. Gold foil, looks just like these earrings I got from my wife. 2 weeks later, boom. Never buy jewelry in gas station parking lots, right? Unless you get a good deal. All right. That's my only planned joke, and it was a bomb. All right. All right, so again, same kind of thing here. But wait, there's more. Oh. Heat effects. Okay, so again, you take that same fractal noise and you isolate the brightest spots. So let me open up that fractal real quick. And again, you got some of that cell pattern effect to create that nice golden brown medium well. And we're using, again, the cell pattern effect. And we'll see. We could change the size of these cracks. Let's see. There we go. And again, you're creating a very dimensional effect. Oh, and it's all interactive with the lighting, so you can move After Effects lights around, and it's fun. So if you are interested in a more complete tutorial with even more references to Billy Mays, we're going to have a tutorial coming out next week, so check that out. That'll be good. Now, last thing I want to talk to you about, and you're thinking, oh, God, there's more. Yes, just a little bit more. Opening up the next project. So we were in our hotel room and we were thinking about like what we could do as sort of a fun demonstration or something like that. And so we made a logo out of our logo, right? Does anyone know anything about 3D printing? This is inspired by 3D. It's 2D printing, and we just cut out some cardboard and we taped it together. It's not bad, but get a 3D printer if you're doing this. This is rough. It's rough. And then we got this thing right here. No, it's not the new Mac. Oh. What this is a way to film a really cool effect. So actually, Dusty, come up, give me a hand, bud. So while he's setting this up really quick, let me just show you a little video. It's our new plugin. It's a trash can. No, so we're going to set this up. I want to just kind of show you how easy it is to do fun experiments that can give you a more unique effect. So I just have this webcam. We brought a backup cam. Hold on. Everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. So this guy's like, oh, no. All right, so over here we've got some dry ice, right? And let me tell you something. Don't try to find dry ice in Las Vegas, okay? You have to go to some really crazy parts of town. Thank you, Tino, for going, buddy. And then we've also got some, you guys have seen this, right? Has anyone ever used this for its intended purpose? I don't think so. All right, so check this out. Pull out that light. And we got some water. All right, pay attention to... do you have some warm water? Oh, yeah, cool. All right, so we'll take this logo. Can you guys see that okay? Let me turn up yeah, that's okay. Just keep the light on. Okay, we'll take a little bit of that. Oh, yeah, pick up the logo. Oh, shoot. Nice. Okay, is that reading a bit? Keep it right above. There we go. And then we take a little air. Ooh, look at that. All right, not too bad. All right, so let me show you the result of this. All from our hotel room. What a great hotel. They only came in there and told us to stop it 3 times. So this is your own custom effect. So like my favorite thing is to combine unique things that don't exist anywhere else, things that are your very own and you can make into your own graphics, customize them, and you'll love it. So hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. My name is Andrew Kramer, and I will see you next year.